Hi, how are you doing? Today, I want to talk about COVID-19 and how it has affected me. So, Singapore circuit breaker just ended on the 2nd of June. Actually, it's the 1st of June lah, but yeah, 2nd of June 2020. And then it started from the 7th April. Yeah. So, but then if we were to go back about how it has affected me, we can go all the way back until February, you know. Because, so I'm working for a coffee company, and then we have a couple of cafes around the country. And then so I'm a part-time staff doing admin work for my company. And it so happened that I was tasked to do a project for publicity for my company, and that project started 16 February and was supposed to launch somewhere around April. But then, of course, as we know, COVID-19 came. Well, and then at that time, in fact, COVID-19 had already started because the first case was 23rd January, right? But then the effects weren't fully felt until about maybe March, or until like 2 weeks before the circuit breaker. Yeah. So on the 24th of March, I had a meeting with my bosses. Then I thought that, hey, with the project, maybe it can kick off to do something. But then, of course, on the 2nd or 3rd of April, I can't remember now, then PM Lee came out and said, on the 7th of April, we will have our circuit breaker. And immediately, I was told that my project would be shelved. Yeah. So, the thing is that when you finally find something to do, and then you get to doing it, and then because of COVID, right, then the project just has to be shelved like that. And then what's worse is that, in my company, because I'm a part-timer, right, so immediately when the circuit breaker was announced, then within an hour later, my boss announced that all part-timers would not be given work lah for the period of the circuit breaker. And then immediately it just suddenly just no work, just like that. Yeah. So during the first week of circuit breaker, I just take it as like a break. Like first week, I found myself going down for walks, taking walks. Even if I had no work to do, I was like, hey, just go and take a walk lah. So that was day 1, day 2. And then day 3, I walked over to my nearest Each a Cup outlet. At that time, bubble tea still open. So I'm not a regular drinker of bubble tea, but I thought, hey, since I walked past, then I'll just go and buy. So that was day 3. Then it's like very chill, right? Then, so that went on for a while. Day after day, take walks. But then, right, when it came to day 13, 10 days later, when I went back to the same Each a Cup, again, at that time, bubble tea still open. In fact, I think that was like maybe 1 or 2 days before they announced the extended circuit breaker, I think. Can't remember already. it's up on my Insta story lah. It's in my Insta highlights. Yeah. Then after that I was like, it's day 13 and I back here and I have nothing to do. Yeah, and then the my 7-Eleven, which happened to be next door to that Each a Cup, also had its hours revised. So that particular 7-Eleven next to Each a Cup now only does 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on weekdays and 9 to 6 on weekends. So it's like sometimes I go there, the 7-Eleven also closed. So anyway, yeah. So for the first 2 weeks of circuit breaker, it was very difficult. Immediately after the circuit breaker was announced, I still remember that I texted a friend. I don't know, I just I got hit, I guess. So then it's like, I asked my friend, you want to meet up or not? Then at that time, wasn't a good time lah. So I was just very down. I had a bit of a rant. Yeah. So that was the start. Then for the first 2 weeks of circuit breaker, I had advice. People tell me, go and find something to do, go take a course. Yeah. Yeah. So thankfully, I think it was in the middle of that 2 weeks lah. Maybe might have been day 8, day 9. I can't remember. Then I sort of like got myself involved in a Zoom lunch thing, with my small group, with my cell group, community and some young adults from church. So at that time, then I found like a community that I could meet with for lunch every day over Zoom. But then even then also, like, it was only like maybe 1 hour plus. So at that time it was like, for that 1 hour, it helped me to fill my time, got me to interact and talk to people. So still not so bad. But then, the walks, the good thing is that I started to walk, because where I live is between two MRT stations, one on the left, one on the right, about 1.5 kilometers each way. So, since I had nothing to do, so I would just walk. But then those walks would happen like maybe evening or night time lah. So you can imagine, like, in the daytime, I got nothing to do. But then also no difference, because as the circuit breaker went on, I had more flexibility in time. That also meant that my body clock is just all over the place. So I started to wake up very late with no alarm. Yeah, averaging about maybe I don't know, maybe 1 p.m. plus, sometimes 3 p.m. so late, right? Yeah. Then what's that lah? So somewhere around middle April, a co-worker of mine sent an article into the work WhatsApp chat. Can't remember the title now. I'll link it somewhere. Yeah. So it talked about we are in the middle of a pandemic, and then we shouldn't blame ourselves for not being productive. So when I read that article, I wrote in, to the company that wrote it lah. Yeah. And then things just went into motion. I wrote in, I remember it was like 1 a.m. that morning when I read. Then after that, I received a response at about 8 a.m. from the managing editor of the company. And then they say, would you like to be interviewed by one of our journalists? So after that, I say, oh, why not? Yeah. So then, so after that, I was like, yeah, why not? Right? Then I was thinking like, yeah, doesn't matter. Anyway, I got nothing to do. I got nobody to talk to. Yeah, I might as well maybe can take the opportunity to talk to somebody, maybe tell my story or what. Yeah. And then, you know, in the meantime, while I was Googling, I found online counselling portal. The website is ec2.sg. I found out that it was run by Fei Yue Community Services. So I was there for a few days, like actually 4 or 5 times. So almost daily, like maybe a few times a week for that time, for that first 2 weeks plus. Then no, I think up to the maybe first month, yeah, end of the first month. So that was end of April, right? Yeah, up to maybe the end of April, because I remember that so I got a response back to the interview part, right? So I got a response. I wrote it on the 16th. I got a response on the 17th. Was it 16, 17? I can't remember. Yeah. This was 16, 17. Oh yeah, correct. So 16, 17, I got it. Then on the 19th, I think it was the 19th. Then I got a response from the journalist, the person who was going to, write the article for the interview. Then we sort of arranged a short interview via Zoom lah. Then I was there. I told my story. Yeah, and then that time, you know, I was like, so I just told my story. Then after that, on the 24th, so the interview itself was set, if I'm not wrong, would be about maybe on the 28th, is it? I can't remember all the dates already lah, but yeah, it's somewhere around there. So on the 24th of April, was it 24th of April? Yeah, on 24th of April, I was actually with my cell group. We do cell group sessions over Zoom because you can't get out of the house, right? So then one of the cell members suggested that maybe you want to do like Google certification. So that was the 24th of June, right? 24th of May, 24th of April, 24th of April. Hui, I don't know why. Sorry. Yeah. So then, so the 24th of April. Then, so I thought, why don't I check it out? So at least for that period between the 24th of April until I finish the cert, the Google digital marketing fundamentals cert on the 5th of May, right? So during that time, I found something to do. And then also in the same time, like I said before, I found a online counseling portal where I could just go online and just talk to people lah. So I was there for a while. Then it was quite bad at first lah, because when you just check, you log on and you check, you talk to people. Then later on, of course, when I found the course, then I spend like almost every day. Yeah. Um, yeah, that course is not easy. Yeah. Even though it's bite-sized short videos and quizzes and all that, their estimated timing is um for completion is about 40 hours. That's about a university semester, you know. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So the first time I did the exam, that was on the 5th of May, right? No, 4th of May. I actually failed because the certificate requires you to have a minimum of 80%. And then the first time round, I got 57%. Yeah, that shows how. Then the second time round, because they make you wait like 8 hours later before you can retake lah, so that you don't like keep taking and taking. So then the second time round, I barely scraped it with 85%. Yeah. Uh, yeah. So that was the 5th of May, and then around. So at that time, after finishing the cert, then I like again, got nothing to do. So yeah. So mid-May, I received a text from my boss. Then he said that, oh, would you like to uh help out in the e-commerce setup that we are setting up now. So after that, then I say yeah lah, why not anyway, just do it mah. So I've been doing that since when since when was that? When did I start? I think that was around late May. Yeah. 20 something, 20, maybe 24th might have been 23rd. No, 23rd May. No, not 23rd May. Before then, eh, I think it might be the week before. Yeah, mid-May. So I started there lah. So then I've been doing it since then lor. So that is my job now. Honestly, it's good lah to be able to find something to do. Because even like 2nd of June after circuit breaker leave, right? Then because phase one essentially is like no difference people are still encouraged to stay home. Most businesses still cannot open, or maybe open in limited capacity. So actually phase one to me makes no difference you know um you know you can to check out what I actually did during the circuit breaker. You can look at my highlights. I saved it under SGCB 2020. I documented like 56 56 days of circuit breaker. Yeah, day 1 to day 56. So some days I got a short clip, other days I only took a few shots, a few photos of Instagram. The Instagram camera. So yeah, then so yeah, we will see lah. We will see what happens next lor, because this COVID-19 thing is quite it's going to stick with us for a while, globally. So things like going to work, things like that will not be happening for a while, because even after circuit breaker lifts, the ministers already say that work from home should be the new default. So yeah, so work from home is the new default. I've been working from home, if you can call it that. Yeah, I think most people also have lah. So you just do whatever you can lah. Yeah, do whatever what I can do. Yeah, then we'll just wait and see lor, because seems like e-com is the way to go lah. Yeah, and it will be for the foreseeable future, maybe at least for the next 6 months. Yeah, they say service recovery is for 6 to 9 months lah. I was on a Facebook live stream, watching like 歌台 organizer, because I like to watch those stuff, right? So 歌台 love live performances. Then the guy was saying like, without a certain number of people like being part of those dinners lah, because during 歌台 performances they have dinners mah. Then it's like he was suggesting a number about 200 to 300 people. Without those people, without those numbers, right, it's very difficult to run. So what he did was, right, since March he brought the 歌台 from outdoor stage to electronic, right? So then in fact is the last episode is coming up soon. It's on Monday. It was supposed to be only 10 episodes, so it was supposed to end on the day that the original circuit breaker deadline, which was the 4th of May the 4th, yeah, correct, 4th of May. But then because of the extension, then they did another 5 episodes, so I've been watching it as well. Yeah, then and yeah lah, because now with they don't recommend having big crowds, so events are a no now. Yeah, in fact, yeah, now the latest is that they are saying that for like places of worship, bars, entertainment venues, need to go through some I don't know lah, some form of checks, regulatory checks, before being allowed to open. Yeah, and all that. And then the government like started to allow places of worship to have like 5 people per household or something, right? Yeah, but then it's just 5. So just imagine if they were to say, okay, you can run an event, but you only can have this amount of people, and then like 5 or 10 people, then like, yeah, events just gone, right? Immediately all the events are gone. Yeah, so getting out there is also not something that's recommended. So it's phase 1 mah. Phase 1 is like essentially extension of the circuit breaker, but with the measures eased lah. And yeah, and then if you were to read like the latest number as of yesterday, 4th of June, yeah, 15 community cases, 13 of whom are asymptomatic, means they basically were tested before and then they got tested again and they still have COVID. So 15 community cases. And then should that come as a surprise? Not really, because the minister already mentioned that, as circuit breaker lifts and when it's lifted, you expect the numbers to go up. The migrant workers numbers, even though it's in the hundreds, but those hundreds actually like drop and go up, that kind of thing. So yeah, but then the community cases, they like this 15 case is the highest for maybe how many? Maybe a couple of weeks, right? highest in a couple of weeks. But then will circuit breaker be implemented again? Nah, I don't think so, because number one, the ministers already pre-warned that, a spike, even though definition of a spike in Singapore terms is not really lah, because you have 15 cases, right, in Singapore compared to other countries where, like, Malaysia has like 90 cases yesterday, right? And then, other countries have so many more, like their number of cases is like 10 to 20 times our number, and then they just consider it like a normal number. Whereas, like, when you have like we go from, like, I don't know, 5 cases, then 8 cases, and then after that maybe you go down to like 4 cases, then they suddenly boom, you go up to 15 cases, then you call that a spike. So yeah, so the numbers, I don't know lah. Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, at least going back to what I said about how COVID has affected me, is like, at the start it was quite bad because nothing to do, no schedule to abide by, and like you want to talk to people, but not that people don't want to talk to you, people don't want to meet up with you, but because cannot mah, right? Thankfully for like the first 2 weeks of circuit breaker, so that was middle April, right? I had a few WhatsApp calls, so video call, then but then I one or two video calls, and then I already say I had the Zoom interview, then I had Zoom sessions, Zoom lunches, and Zoom small group meetings on Fridays. Yeah, so then those were the things that kept me like engaged with people lah. So yeah, what else is there to say? We'll see lah. The minister say that initially, one of them say that phase 1 would take a minimum of a month. Then after that, then they within a few days later, this another one say, we will review again in 2 weeks. So in other words, this phase 1 could be go into phase 2 as early as middle June, or could go all the way until late June. Yeah, but anyway, for me, it doesn't matter lah, because phase 1 to me makes no difference. Even phase 2 also, would it make a difference? I will still be at home doing work from home anyway. Of course, there's the difference in phase 2 is the dine-in option, right? Which is very important, because for me, if I want to go out somewhere, I want to dine in, then then got more motivation to go out, kind of thing. But then of course now, because there's no dine, no go out mah, right? You can just go out, sit down, drink your coffee. Yesterday I went to get a coffee, my first brew to order coffee in like, since when I also don't know when was the last time I drank brew to order coffee. I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe 20th because 20th of May was the last time I went back to my company's office. So then yesterday was the 4th of June, right? So yeah, about 2 weeks 2 weeks without freshly made coffee. Then in between, I always drink 7-Eleven, 7 Cafe, which isn't bad. Yeah, but it's not fantastic lah, because it's can be considered instant coffee also. So it's not bad, but can have better options. Then you have better options. Yeah. So yeah. So I hope that all of you are doing well. Looking forward to phase 2 of and eventually phase 3. We don't know when phase 3 will be, because they say phase 3 will be when a vaccine is found, and then they start to have more opening up, and then we venture towards the new normal. But as one of NTUC Fair Prices marketing campaigns, one of their taglines, is that what you call it, for their campaign was, it's not a new normal, rather we see it as a fresh start. So yes, fresh start it is. So looking forward to a fresh start in phase 3, and hopefully life will go back to that new normal. I'll be going around, maybe cafe hopping again, maybe even going to walk around the fire shops, the budget stores that I love to do. I love to just where I live, right? I can just take the MRT, boom, one station down, and then just walk around the heartland. Yeah, and then that's it. Yeah, that I just go there, I stop at the interchange, I walk one round, I go back to the bus stop, and then after I take the bus back. Easy. Just looking forward to that kind of walk again lah. And then of course with bubble tea, I'm not really a bubble tea person, but having options are always good, right? That time when McDonald's closed, so for a few weeks we didn't have McDonald's. I remember the week that McDonald's opened, right? Within the next week I ate McDonald's twice in a week, twice in 3 days if I'm not wrong. So the first one I had was like the Angus, and then the second one was what? I can't remember what the second one was like. It was some feast or something like that. So yeah lah. Then with bubble tea is the same also lah. It's like when it's open, right, you don't feel like going there. But then when it's closed, right, you wish it open. And then when it opens again, then you just you just want to go there. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So come to the end of the video. Yeah, I so ran out of things to say already. Hope you all have a nice weekend. Today record this on a Friday, right? So hope you all have a nice weekend, and just as we all get used to this new normal and people start going back to work, yeah, just slowly adjust back to life the life as it was and as it will be lah. Yeah, as it will be as well. So yeah, thank you. See you again soon. Bye.